Right. So first question, do you have? 90% of world's population live in just 10% of its land area. Okay, that is correct. 10 most populous countries contribute about 60% of world's population. That is also factual correct. All of the top 10 most populous countries are located in Asia. No. Okay, that is in Africa, South. This you have Nigeria. Okay, so what is correct option? Only two. B is the right option. Okay, then consider the following statement. River valleys are the most densely populated. You know that all across where we have highest population near river. Why? Because they provide reliable source of fresh water. That's first thing. Second, also they have fertile soil. Okay, so because of both, what you can say, you have the highest population there. What is the correct option? A. Okay, so A is the right option. Then third, in context of demographic transition theory, we have discussed. Demographic transition theory, what do we have in the initial stage? High birth rate, high death rate. That means high fertility, high mortality, and low level of technology. Technological development happens when in the second stage, right? So what is the correct option? C. It's given here. Answer C. Then 4. In context of factors influencing population distribution, landform, soil, industrialization, availability of water. How many of them are classified as geographical factors?
3. Landform, soil,
Landforms, soil, and availability of water. Industrialization is okay, economic factors, we can say. So C, only 3. Right? That is the right answer. Then consider the following statement regarding population change. Growth rate of population is the change of population specifically expressed in percentage, right? Natural growth of population, it does not include migration. That is real growth rate. Okay, natural growth rate plus minus migration. So what is the correct option? A. Then highest growth rate of population, where do we have? Africa. Okay, we have discussed in the next coming
youngest population.
Okay. Coming 10 years, which country will contribute maximum? African countries, sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, even in African continent, the region that are in sub-Saharan Africa, they will contribute highest. Then we have the sex ratio is calculated as number of females per thousand male. Okay, in case of India. Second, favorable ratio for women is always an indicator of high social economic status. No, okay, it is not always true. So A, only one is the right answer. Then age experiment wide based that tapers sharply toward the top. Okay, that means this something like this. High birth rate and high death rate in the lower age group. These characteristics are typical of which type of population? Expanding population. Okay, because in the coming time population will grow at very fast rate as such, right? So because here wide base means what? These people will enter into the reproductive age group. Okay, that's when they will contribute to population growth. And high birth rate, high death rate you have. So both of these are example of expanding population. Then a country with high proportion of population in the age group of 15 to 59 years is said to have a high dependency ratio. That is incorrect. Okay, it is this age group which is workforce. Okay, so dependency ratio is very low here. Dependency ratio means what? Given here proportion of dependents, that is, and working age population, that means above 60 people who have been retired and people who have not entered the workforce, they are dependent upon the workforce. So in this case dependency ratio will be low. So what is the correct option? D. Which of the following statement correctly describe a population pyramid representing a country with high dependency ratio? Broad base, a rapidly narrowing top indicating high birth rate and short life expectancy. Then human development is concerned only with increasing per capita income. True or false? False. Human development is having other parameters also like education, healthcare. Second, concept of development emphasizes enlarging people's choices, capability approach, okay, that you talked about, decision making. So what is the correct option? B. Okay, 2 only. B is the right option. Then HDI is a composite index measuring health education standard of living, that we know. Life expectancy at birth is used indicator of health dimension, that is also correct. GNI per capita adjusted for PPP is used for education dimension. Okay, that is income dimension, simple. So for education, what do we use? Which parameters? mean years of schooling, right? So what is the correct option? Only 1 and 2, A. So for 12th, question 12th, A is the right option. Then 13, yesterday we have discussed also equity. Okay, basically all of these are correct. Definition yesterday we have discussed, these are also called as what? Pillars of human development. So 4 pillars of human development: equity, sustainability, productivity and empowerment. So all of these are correctly mentioned. Okay, so D is the right option. Then approaches we have discussed, 4 approaches: income, then we have which one? Basic needs, capability approach. So income approach and welfare approach, one more we have. So income approach is one of the oldest approaches that we have discussed. Initially, income was considered as mirror of human development. Basic need approach was proposed by ILO. Okay, I told you, International Labour Organization. And third is the capability approach. You know that Amartya Sen was involved here. So what is the correct option? C. Okay, all the 3 statement 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Which of the following approaches to human development is associated with Professor Amartya Sen? Simple. Capability approach. Factual. Then nomadic herding is a primitive subsistence activity where herders rely entirely on animals for food and clothing. Right. Herders rely entirely on food and clothing. That is true. Food and clothing. That is nomadic herding. People are basically moving with animals from one place to other place, like in the steppes of Central Asia, Kazakhstan, okay, Mongolia, these regions. So completely dependent upon animals. They do not have any other this source of food. Commercial livestock rearing is capital intensive and practiced on large permanent ranches. That is also correct, right? Like in the case of prairies of United States of America, okay, pampas of Argentina. Commercial livestock rearing is highly generalized where multiple types of animal are reared together. That is not correct. Okay, you have 1 or 2 type of animal maximum. You do not have multiple type of animals. So what is correct option? B, only 2. Then plantation agriculture was introduced by Europeans in tropical colonies to grow cash crops. Right? Correct. Which of the what you have to choose here? Which of the following is not correct? Extensive commercial grain cultivation is practiced in highly populated regions of monsoon Asia. No. What kind of cultivation we do? Like example, this is India. What do you do? Intensive cultivation, not extensive. Mixed farming, crop cultivation and animal husbandry are given equal importance. That is true, mixed farming. So what is correct option? B. Yeah, only 2. Consider the following statement regarding mining activity. Open cast mining is the cheapest and easiest method for extracting minerals that occur close to surface. Right? We have discussed in case of the coal mining that we do, iron ore mining in India. Underground mining methods are considered much safer than surface mining. Okay, that is obviously incorrect. Underground mining is what? Relatively dangerous. Okay, and developed economies are rapidly expanding their mining operations due to low domestic labor cost. That is incorrect. Low labor cost is which country economies? Developing economies. Okay, so developed economies, that is incorrect. What is the correct option then? Right. You have to choose what here? Again, you have to choose not correct. So 2 and 3. These are not correct, incorrect options. Then which of the following agricultural activities primary special in Mediterranean? I think now you should be able to. Which one? Viticulture. What is viticulture? Grape cultivation. Okay, so wine region, wine manufacturing region. Commercial livestock rearing is generally practiced in regions of extensive grassland with low population density. Right, that is correct. Like in prairies we have discussed about, or Europe. Okay, you also have Australia. You have this commercial livestock rearing. Then commercial livestock rearing is primarily subsistence oriented and depends mainly on family labor. No, okay, that is false. So what is correct option? C. Then pampas felt. Modern large-scale manufacturing involves extreme specialization of labor to produce goods in large quantity. True or false? True. High technology industries have higher proportion of white collar worker than blue collar worker. That is also correct. Okay, highly skilled workers required. Footloose industries, already I discussed 2-3 times. What are footloose industry? Which do not depend on any specific raw material. They can be set up anywhere. So third statement is what? Incorrect statement. So B, only first and second statement is correct statement. So B is the right option. Consider the following statement regarding classification of industries. Household or cottage manufacturing is the smallest manufacturing unit where artisans use local raw material. Okay, that is correct, cottage industries. Technopoles are planned regional concentration of high-tech industries. That is also correct. Okay, both terms are definitions. So basically, C, both 1 and 2. Basic industry, which one is basic? Iron and steel industry. Okay, that is basic, simple, because it provide what? Whatever produce, okay, materials, equipment producing, it can be used in all other industries as well. So that's why basic industry. So B, iron and steel industry. Then 24, industrial location is influenced by both physical and socio-economic factor. Right, true. Right, physical factor means, what can be physical factor? All the geographical factors, power, water, relief and all that. Socio-economic factors means, what you can say, labor availability, okay, government policy and all that. Statement 2, availability of raw material reduces transportation cost for industries. That is correct. Availability of skilled labor enhances productivity and efficiency in manufacturing. That is also correct. So what is correct option? A. Both statement 2 and 3 are correct, and both of them explain statement 1. Then again, based on quaternary and quinary, we have discussed primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary and quinary, 5 types of activities in economy. So quaternary activities heavily depend on the collection, production and dissemination of information. That is the correct definition. Quinary activities involve high level decision making and policy formulation. That is also correct. So consultancy services, for example, here discussed. Okay, consultants are brought in to help in the decision making and policy formulation. Professionals engaged in quinary activities are generally termed as white collar. No, I told you in class, last to last, that they are called as which collar? Gold collar workers. So what is the correct option? B, only 2. Not white collar, they are called as gold collar. White collar is term for quaternary, right? Quaternary activities. 26, KPO involves highly skilled workers and specialized domain knowledge. That is correct. Okay, knowledge process outsourcing. Business process outsourcing requires much higher technical skills and analytical abilities than KPO. That is incorrect. BPO is simply data entry. Okay, you have the customer care services and all that. So they require less ability. So only one statement. First one is correct. Which of the following refer to the uneven distribution of opportunities emerging from ICT across the globe? Digital divide, and that is digital divide, because some people have access, some do not have. Context of tertiary activities, which of these are tertiary? Transport, banking and transport and banking. Software development, which kind of activity? Quaternary activities. Okay, so that's difference. Okay, transport, trade, banking, communication, insurance, these are tertiary. KPO, knowledge based services, they are put in the quaternary categories. Okay, IT services. Then consider following triplets regarding economic activities. Secondary, manufacturing, true or false? Right. Adding value to raw material, correct. Then we have tertiary, retail trade, high level decision making. Okay, that is incorrect. Quaternary, research, production of information. Okay, that is correct. Quinary, policy formulation, highest level decision making. So which one? 1, 3, 4. C. Only 3 statements are correct. Then again, based on yesterday I told you to go through it, what do you have to study? Major this railway line. So Trans-Siberian connects what? St. Petersburg to Vladivostok, correct. Trans-Canadian links Halifax to Vancouver. Okay, that is also correct. Australian transcontinental connects Darwin to Melbourne. Okay, that is not correct. Darwin and Melbourne is in this north-south. It is connecting Perth to Sydney, basically from west to east. So Perth to Sydney it connects. All of these lines are from west to east only. So what is correct option? B. Only first and second is correct statement. Then inland waterways, Rhine connects industrial area of Germany to North Sea. We have discussed through the port, you have Hamburg port. Volga waterway is highly developed in Russia and drains into Black Sea. That is incorrect. Where it drains? Caspian Sea. That's why you have a need to connect Volga with Don River. Okay, and through Don River, then you can go in the Black Sea region. So Volga Don Canal is there. Great Lakes, St. Lawrence River form a major commercial waterway in North America, true or false? That is true. Okay, Great Lakes connected to St. Lawrence, and through that you can go to the Atlantic coast port. So what is correct option? B. Only 2. Correct. They are asking correct, right? So first and third are correct. Right. So only 2 statements are correct. Then definition of port, simply in NCERT's definitions are given. Entrepot port, what do we have? Collection center for goods for export. Example is Singapore. Okay, right. So they basically collect goods for different places and again send it to somewhere else as such. Packet stations, transport of passengers and mail in Dover. That is also correct as such. Naval ports handling high bulk cargo, Kochi. That is not correct. Naval port means largely associated with the shipbuilding activities or the naval activities and all that. Okay, so Kochi is example of naval port, but it is not for handling bulk cargo. So B, only two statements are correct. Then which of the following terms describe large continuous areas formed by the merging of originally separate towns and cities? Conurbation. Okay, so earlier you have different cities, and due to continuous urban development, what has happened now? All the cities have merged together to form a single urban complex. So in case of India, what is example of such conurbation? Delhi NCR. Okay, best example, because earlier what do you have? Delhi is there, Noida is there, Gurugram is there. All of these are what? Individual cities. Today, if you look, all of them have been completely joined together. So Delhi NCR, best example of conurbation if you have to look in India. Consider the following statement regarding rural settlements: compact settlement, dispersed settlement. Yesterday we have discussed. Where do you find compact settlement? You want to save the piece of land, so productive alluvial plain. Where do you find dispersed settlement? Hilly tract, thick forest, where land is not that important. So C, 1 and 2. Panama Canal connect, simple, Atlantic to Pacific. Lock system. Lock system means basically the level of the Atlantic Ocean is what? Lower, and Pacific Ocean is relatively what? No. Atlantic, what do you have? Atlantic is higher, Pacific is lower. So if it is like this, and in between you have a landmass, how do you bring ship from this to this? Need to, right, rise the level of the water. That is called as lock system. So when the canal, when the ships enter, the water level is raised. So gradually they rise and they enter into the higher elevation area. So that is correct. Constructed by which country? Not UK, United States of America. So only 2, B is the right option.
Suez Canal was designed by Egypt.
Huh?
The Suez Canal.
Suez Canal, there you have UK, Egypt. Right, so this is the area, this is the Panama. Basically, this side you have North Central America, this is Panama. What is connecting? Even if you try to understand about the in Atlantic Ocean, which exact region does it connect? What is the answer? Caribbean Sea. Okay, so you have to be aware about it. Make sure that you study about this in more detail, because it is continuously coming in news because of the Trump's actions on and all that. So question can be asked about this. So Panama. Then we have Franz Edelman Award, simple factual question, given field of what? Operations research and advanced analytics. So D, Franz Edelman Award. Department of Food and Public Distribution in India is one of 6 finalists for this award. That's why question was asked. Then Jeevan Raksha Padak Award. All the 3 statements are correct. Basically, any civilian who has risked his life to save another person's life, okay, so he can be awarded. It is given to genders, all walk of life. Award can be conferred even after the death. So all 3 statements are correct about Raksha Padak. Bactrian camel, because it was in the this Republic Day parade. Okay, first time it was brought in. So the Bactrian camel is found only in which region of India? Nubra Valley, exclusively found in Nubra Valley region. Wild Bactrian camel is listed as endangered. That is also correct. Okay, here I think I have many mistakes. Correct answer would be C, both 1 and 2. Okay, so wild Bactrian camel is endangered. Consider the following statement regarding pumped hydro storage. Pumped hydro storage is nothing but where you store water so that later on you can generate electricity from there. So that is pumped storage. 100 gigawatt of capacity by 2047. Okay, not 2030. So second statement is incorrect. Okay, India aims to develop 100 gigawatt of this capacity, but not by 2030, by 2047. So what is the correct option? A only. Narayan Ramchandran Committee, National Pension System. Okay, that's where the committee has worked. So Narayan Ramchandran Committee, constituted by PFRDA, okay, Provident Fund Regulatory Development Authority, is tasked with reviewing and modernizing NPS investment guidelines. NPS is what? National Pension System, right? It is a voluntary pension system and also involuntary for government servants. Operations Sahyadri Checkmate. Sahyadri is name given to which mountain? Western Ghat. We have discussed. Western Ghat is also called as Sahyadri. So North Sahyadri, Central Sahyadri, Southern Sahyadri. So Sahyadri Checkmate, seen in the news, was launched by which agency? DRI, Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. Okay, again they have use this operation, basically have carried out operation to bust the drug racket that is running in the Mumbai-Pune region. So, Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, anti-drug operation. Sefai Jala Wildlife Sanctuary was where? Tripura. Okay, Agartala is the capital, I think. Huh. Okay, around Agartala, you have the Sefai Jala Wildlife Sanctuary. So, two lakes you also have here, Abasarika Lake and Amrit Sagar Lake in the same sanctuary. Then polar vortex is a large persistent low pressure zone containing extremely cold air confined over the polar regions by the polar front jet stream. Okay, that is correct. So, like if you look at the world, we have discussed two jet streams are there. One is around 60°, that is polar jet stream. Another is where? Subtropical westerly jet stream around what latitude? 30° in north you can say. So, this is this 60°, here you have 90°. So, what happens? Because you know that in our polar areas, air is sinking. So, as air sinks in the upper atmosphere, what do we have? Low pressure develops. And this low pressure is confined by this polar jet stream. So, this region, this is what you call as polar vortex. Because jet stream, if you remember, I told you it does not move in a straight path. How does it move? Kind of sinus wave like path. Okay, Rossby waves also it is called as. So, that's why the polar front term is used here. If polar front becomes weaker, in that case what happens? You have the cold waves that you will see in the North America, Europe and all. Rotates clockwise over the North Pole and counterclockwise over South Pole. Again, any rotation is because of which force? Coriolis force. And we know that due to Coriolis force, like even talk about cyclones in Northern Hemisphere. What direction do they rotate? Anti-clockwise. So, every system will rotate in the anti-clockwise direction in Northern Hemisphere. So, what is the correct option? A. Okay. Rotates not clockwise but anti-clockwise because North Pole is North Hemisphere. Then we have the exo minor plus plus. Recently seen in news is related to D. A deep learning software designed to discover exoplanet. Okay, developed by NASA. So, analyze astronomical data, improve the accuracy and efficiency of exoplanet discovery. So, again a factual current affairs based question, deep learning software. Consider the following gallantry awards of India: Mahavir Chakra, Ashok Chakra, Shaurya Chakra. How many of them were considered wartime? Wartime gallantry award means that during the war, okay, if you have shown valor and courage while fighting the enemy, okay, so to recognize that, Government of India provides this award. So, which award only? Mahavir Chakra, Ashok Chakra, Shaurya Chakra, these are provided during peacetime. Okay, if someone has shown courage and valor, there's peacetime gallantry award given for acts of bravery other than during war. The term day zero, recently seen in the news, refers to what? Related to water scarcity. Basically, C, the point at which a city's usable water supply falls below critical threshold, forcing shutdown of regular tap water supply. Okay, so this we saw first time in Cape Town. Okay, if talk about the major cities, South Africa you have Cape Town. Cape Town experienced day zero, and if the rate of extraction continues, it is believed that in coming days many cities of India will also face this problem. Okay, starting from Bangalore. So, that's the 46. Bangalore is high risk, okay, of facing day zero in coming years as such. Okay, water supply is expected to dwindle. With reference to Bitra Island, Bitra is in, it is in Lakshadweep, not in Andaman Nicobar. So, that is the incorrect one. Because coral islands, where you have coral islands in India? Lakshadweep you have lot of coral islands. So, Bitra Island you can see on the map. Yeah. We divide Lakshadweep into two groups. We have Amindivi group and Kananur group, and then we have a mini Kauai island that is separated by 9° channel. Further you go southward, we have 8° channel, and to the south which island group? Maldives. So, in the northernmost part of Lakshadweep you can see this island here. This is the Bitra Island. So, smallest inhabited island of Lakshadweep archipelago, not of Andaman Nicobar. Bitra is coral island like other islands of Lakshadweep. Consider the following statement about the forever chemicals. Forever chemicals, highly persistent man-made chemicals known as polyfluoroalkyl substances. Okay, that is correct as such. These are the correct definition of forever chemical. First is correct. They are resistant to water, oil, heat or staining. That's why they are forever, because they do not degrade. Okay, they keep on persisting and remain in the atmosphere environment for long period of time. They are regulated under the Stockholm Convention on POPs, that is persistent organic pollutant. That is also correct. So how many statements are correct? All the three. C. Then the 4B movement is anti-Syrian news originated in which of the following countries? South Korea. Okay, it is a radical movement, radical feminist movement, we can say. Okay, it's where women are refusing to date, marry, have childbirth or sexual relationship. Okay, as a response to what? Patriarchy, gender inequality and gender-based violence. That is the 4B movement. Then Pancham, Panchayat Assistance and Messaging Chatbot, a digital tool aimed at empowering Panchayat elected representatives and functionaries. That is correct statement. Developed in collaboration with which organization? UNICEF. That is also correct. Currently, it will support interaction in only 2 Indian languages. That is not correct because it has been integrated with Bhasani that supports 22 Indian languages. So rather than 2, it will have 22, support to 22 Indian languages as such. Right? So what is the correct option? B. Only 2. Correct we have to choose. So first and second is correct. Third one is incorrect. So that is about this, I think. Yeah.